Hey everybody, welcome to the Ronline Report. This is our wrap-up of the Romania Musclefest Pro in Bucharest, Romania. Here again, man, every weekend this guy has people in these post-Olympia shows. This time he had 2 out of the 3 in the open. Please welcome all the way from Las Vegas, Milos, the Mind Sarcev. What's up, Milos?
It's great to be here again, Ron. As you know, I like to discuss, not because my athletes, every show and my views, but unfortunately, again, another sleepless night. And I just heard from my wife, like, oh, you look sick. Like, oh.
Yeah.
But before, when I talk about sickness, I'm going to tell you now, I can say publicly, all 3 of my athletes, Samson and Beiru and Kevin, were sick to the point that I didn't know if they're going to compete. Samson didn't want to tell me anything. He finally told me the day before. Beiru was actually in the hospital on the IV day before he left. And there was some significant major cold that they were actually thinking, what if this is COVID? And then Kevin, it really crashed him. Kevin from Germany, Gebhardt, he was in a hot tub most of the day, and it was like one of those things, do you compete or not? He was already there. And I don't know if now it's like before. In my time, when you sign a contract and then you don't compete, it's like a potential $5,000 penalty. So
those were the Wayne D'Amelia days. Those days are long gone. Now dude, in those days you had to sign your contracts like in January for all the shows you were going to do that year, and unless you had a medical reason with a note from a doctor, you had to do the show, or else you were fine. But what happened to Samson? What kind of sickness did he have?
Yeah, he had a cold. He had some cold and typical. But listen, when you travel to 5 different countries, back and forth, and what I appreciate about Samson, he went to San Marino, so he went to for a touristic day with his wife and sightseeing. He went to Egypt. I don't know if you've seen. Day before, he went to see pyramids, and he was on a camel and everything else. And I was just about to say, hey, don't go for a touristic trip before the show. And then I see on Instagram he's on the camel. Like, okay, it's too late. But so look, one thing that I wish always is everything ideal. But I'm sure that if you ask any guy that's competing, they have their own adversities, and public only sees what is on the stage. They don't care what happened, week before, day before, and stuff like that.
And this is important to note that there are other types of sicknesses, not just COVID. It's not always COVID, everybody. Sometimes people get colds or flus or whatever. But
all the competitors had to be tested this time. Yeah, they were all tested, and actually there was a scare for me. Like, what if some of them are positive? I mean, it will be no good. But I'm delighted again. Like I said, I have 2 guys in the top 3. Yeah. And super pleased with both of them. Discussing the judging. First, congratulations to Rafael Brandao. I love the guy. I love his physique. I think this is the direction we want to go. Aesthetically pleasing, beautiful physiques, and he had so many adversities that I heard of. He beat them all, overcame, and placed close second last week, and he won this week. If you ask me, he didn't repeat his condition from Prague, so I think he was a little bit fuller, but therefore softer. When you're already not in a crazy condition in one show, and then you get softer for the next show, then you have to kind of wonder. And I'm going to point out something again, not to go against the judges or anything, but everybody was discussing that the judging score sheet from, I think, Arnold Classic. And if you see judging score sheet from this show, there's only 1 round that is being judged. So there's only pre-judging results, and then finals when you're supposed to calculate the scores. And we know that last week, Regan was clearly second after the first round, and then he was clearly 4th at judging, ended up being 3rd. So I was wondering, because look, this was not a straight victory show. I mean, even if some people saw Rafael winning, I'm sure there's a lot of people that saw Samson, and many even experts are saying if Beiru Stabani won this show, nobody would complain.
Yeah.
And this is really how I saw it. Behruz came most conditioned, really super tight stride. He had that kind of thin skin and next level conditioning of Hadi Chupan, his countryman, especially when he turned around and squeezed those glutes and hamstrings and back. My comments for Behruz is he didn't hold the poses long enough. So he didn't have enough chances to impress the judges. He would really literally hit them for a couple of seconds and go to the other pose. And he doesn't speak English, right? So, you know, the Google translator and then my good friend, Reza Zinotlu, great Iranian bodybuilder, he was translating. Sometimes, you know, things get lost in translation. He was amateur competing maybe 5 years ago. He won that world championship and I was waiting when he's gonna make this pro debut, and then all these years didn't happen. But finally, as you know, he was scheduled to go to Egypt and didn't get the visa. Prague didn't get the visa. Now we are facing possibility to go 2 weeks from now to Alicante, and he doesn't believe he's going to get the visa.
Hold on, was this his first pro show?
That's his pro debut. Yes.
Wow, he looked phenomenal. Wow.
Yes.
Very impressive.
Yeah, so I think he put his name on the map that people now realize how good he is, and they're going to look for it. Beautiful shape, crazy V-taper, symmetry, proportions, front double biceps, back double biceps, you can kill for. I mean, you know, really side poses when you see that hanging hamstring and strided glutes. He came a little bit lighter, probably about 2-3 kilos, 4-6 pounds lighter that he could have. He just couldn't eat with all this sickness. I mean, it was all the food was making him sick to his stomach. Yeah. So at that note, when you have to choose, okay, well, I can't really have that fullness, then let me go for this dry, strided look, because maybe that's going to be flavor of the day. Contrary to Samson, you see, Samson for me was driest in Egypt, but it didn't really award him. So we went for a little bit fuller look, and all the judges love his look in Prague, and he won unanimously prejudging and finals. So if judges are giving you a direction where to go, it's okay. If I have to choose between this and that, okay, let's go just for fullness. Apparently, Rafael Brandao also went for fullness, and he went his way. So let me make this point straight across. Differences between these guys are so minuscule that this could happen. Flip-flop. One show, Nathan Deasha wins over Samson. Next time Samson beat him, right? So who is better bodybuilder? And, you know, when you question it, Nathan Deasha was at his absolute best in the last show in Prague, but the place is the worst, okay? So he also had to question how is being judged and what is the best possible look. You see, you and I, we're gonna look for condition, right? We're looking, that would be like a main
that's why, honestly, I had Beirut's. I think Rafael's got a prettier shape. Samson has a prettier shape, but I really would have had no problem with Beirut's winning. He was by far the most conditioned man in the open class. Probably even, I don't think even Frias or Ashkan. He was the most conditioned guy I saw on that show. So
yeah,
I want to ask you why, you know, what does he need to do? What would he have needed to do to beat Rafael and Samson at this show?
I really, this time, okay, it's the first time on the scene. So I don't know exactly who were the judges, but if Steve Weinberger was there, I'm sure Steve would give them multiple chances, several rounds of the same guys. They didn't get this time. And the way they were kind of, not really rushed, but he kind of, you see, when you do the, you say front double biceps, pay attention to how long Steve takes to call the next pose. And here in a live stream, you could see they were going much faster. Another thing for Behruz that I want to say, if you look, front double biceps is state of the art, okay? Back double biceps, same thing. Back lat spread, same thing. Frontal spread, very, very good. Side triceps, phenomenal. Side chest, excellent, right? Most muscular, good. He is a little bit flattish, but still very, very impressive. So when you put together so many great poses, if he was really compared, okay, and hold the pose, let me be compared, I think the judges would see it much better. Some of us, we saw it, and I'm glad that you say it, and many other people I heard said the same thing. Giles said the same thing. If Behruz won, nobody on this earth would complain, nobody. Samson, of course, repeating, kind of, I believe he repeated the look from Prague. That was quite dominant, and they had the same competitor for second place. Not as good shape. It kind of makes you wonder. Okay, if there was a different judging panel, maybe it would go a different way. Rafael still had a dominant legs, of course, excellent, beautiful shape upstairs. Still back poses. Some people say, "Oh yeah, he won the back poses." I don't see it. And then especially hamstring glutes from a back as well, which is half of the body, was not comparable, when you really look. But to make clear, I'm delighted to have Rafael qualified for Olympia and going on the stage, because if he makes huge improvements, we're going to have a lot of aesthetic guys. Let's say Regan, Brandon Curry, and then it's going to be Samson, it's going to be Rafael, there's going to be many of aesthetic people. I can say Hunter Labrada as well, right? He's that borderline, going in both directions. So I would like to see aesthetics and shape overtake the size, because this is also going to be, throughout the next 10 years, usually a rule. And I love Big Ramy, and I think he's rightful Mr. Olympia, and you can never outsize him, just like Ronnie Coleman was not outsized, like Jay Cutler or Dorian Yates. They were all bigger and therefore Mr. Olympias. But I just think that if you bring that beauty, you're going to have a more mainstream acceptance.
I mean, I think we're starting to see a lot more of the aesthetic physiques come back to the Open Mr. Olympia, whereas for a few years they were very, very rare sight. So that's a good thing. I do want to talk about fourth place, 22 years old. He had just made his pro debut last week in Prague. I think he was seventh, and he got fourth here. Is Amir Omeragic. Not a very.
I'm going to say this name. Remember his name, Amir Omeragic. Amir is easy, right?
Not Amir.
Amir.
Yep.
Omeragic. In our language, G is G. It's not Omeragic. It's Omeragic. And what you say, 22 years old, and look at the density, like from the back. I mean, this was puzzling me. He was so dense, so hard, polished, striated, Christmas tree glutes, lats, everything, like, oh my God. If you just look at the body and the muscle, you would never guess that this is 22-year-old.
No.
And he is really now even more motivated. He was motivated in seventh place. Now imagine, 20-something guys in placing fourth, going in 2 weeks to Alicante with with aspirations to possibly be in the mix to win.
Yeah, why not? So where do you think he's originally from, like Serbia or Croatia?
I think he's from Bosnia.
Bosnia.
Bosnia, yeah.
That's another one of those countries.
But my former Yugoslavia, my countryman, speaks my language, of course. And like I said, about a year and a half ago, I was helping him, and now Chris Cecilia took over. They're doing a hell of a job. He was so conditioned in both shows. And not just that, when he didn't win a pro card, 3 maybe competitions, he was placing second. So he was just about to turn pro and he didn't. He was in crazy condition. And now, when he won pro card and now as a pro, he's repeating this kind of conditioning. So, some people have ability to repeat and be in this kind of condition and change quickly and get in this kind of condition. And some people, it's much slower process, and some people really never achieve. So on that note, let's talk about fifth place, Quinton.
Yeah, Quint Beastwood from the Toronto, Canada area.
Yeah.
Very impressive. I remember him when he did his first pro show. He had He almost went classic because he was right on the verge of being light enough to be a classic physique competitor, but he's still not the biggest guy up there, but such beautiful shape and structure. He's someone I would love to see him fill that frame up, but still, he looked great conditioning, and just what a beautiful physique.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful physique, good conditioning, but you see, that's what I was leading to. Many guys, when you analyze them, they are lean, they're dry enough, right?
Yeah.
But then they don't appear so conditioned, and you wonder what is going on, right? So some people say, okay, with a little bit more fullness and glycogen pushing to the skin, it makes some people look harder and more defined. And for some people, actually goes the opposite way. For me, he didn't leave the impression of that, like Amir type of conditioning. Like, whoa, they could be, very close body fat levels. But Amir was appearing, leaps and bounds better condition than him. So Quinton has a beautiful future in front of him. For that height, I think he's about 6 foot. I don't know.
Yeah, he is.
He still needs a little bit more weight from the back, thickness of the back, thickness, roundness of a chest. Yeah. Great arms, great legs. Which really, I think I mentioned this. Interestingly, if you look, many people throughout the years, there was either dominant torso or dominant lids, and some people put it together both. But he is a limb guy. He has legs and arms that can grow. So if I was him, I would really focus on torso and bombing back and chest, just to get that, thickness.
Have you noticed, Milos, people with longer arms and legs seem to be limb dominant? They seem to be the ones that have a harder time building the chest and the back.
I didn't, but you probably, if I really know, my brain is dead because of sleepless nights, so I can't really focus on anybody directly. But that's quite possible. You know how it is when you train with the guys with the long legs and long arms, and then they say, "Oh, it's easy for you to bench or squat because you have a short limbs." I always tell them the opposite. You have a long ones; it should be easier for you, just to mess with the brain. But again, to touch the subject of training, even though this is a report for the contest. Yeah. Okay, I was training Jamie Johal just yesterday, legs, okay? And like he said, I took his soul. Before the actual training, he would say he doesn't really connect so much with the hamstring. Yeah. And then, upper quads, he doesn't. I say, you're going to have to connect. And I'm going to bring you to the point that you're going to connect, and every guy in every exercise, they can achieve that. You go to the full range of motion, go in a slower tempo, focus on that muscle, and then try to stop. And there's going to be point that depending on the strength curve, if it's in the beginning, mid-range, or the end range, whatever, you're going to start feeling, oh, here is where I feel the muscle. Okay, so now you establish that connection. So let it burn a little bit, and then bring yourself to that position where it's burning the most. Okay, then you prolong, when you get out of the burn zone, that tells you, let's stay in that burn zone for a while so you can connect. And then once you connect, you can prolong range of motion. So this is how I would do it for the people. And so I don't feel my back, I don't feel this, I don't feel that. Yeah. So pick the exercises and find that burning zone and stay in that zone. So I would do it for Quinton, chest and back, everything, especially, chest could be, on a negative, on the stretch position, on the positive, and the peak contraction. So there's always 4 things you can change: the tempo and focus on eccentric, lengthening position, concentric, and shortened position. Yeah. So, just giving my views. So for some people that like to hear that opinion, I see it works tremendous. And then look, changing the tempo, right? Yeah. What I do, that 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 down to 1 second. You can do this eccentrically. So first rep, go 10 seconds down. Second, 9, and then 8 and 7, right? So that's eccentrically. You can do the same concentrically. Go slow up. It's a nightmare for legs, for shoulders, for chest. Go slow concentrically, absolute nightmare. Then peak contraction, right? Squeeze for 10 seconds on the first rep, 9. I mean, people don't do it. They say, I mean, you're just trying to be different. No, I'm not trying to be different for the sake of being different. I experiment to find, okay, what works. Normally it's accepted, 4-second eccentric, 0 or 1 second in the stretch position, and then explosive concentric, and maybe peak contraction at the top or continuous extension. So why? Why? You change the tempo, angle, grip, stance, anything.
Oh, by the way, I don't know if you saw in the YouTube comments, somebody tried to come up with a name for your training system. There was an MSGST, like Milos Sarcev giant set training. MSGST, I kind of like that. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to the rounding out the top 6 for open was Milan Sadek from Czech Republic, who
Milan Sadek.
Sadek. Oh,
I love Sadek. Yeah.
Sadek.
You see, I'm Sarcev.
Yeah.
He's Sadek.
Different country.
Great physique, very good conditioning. You see, very aesthetically pleasing, complete, nothing missing. I agree with Giles. He could be as high as 4th, with the completeness and just total package. Maybe on the smaller side, so that's why I guess 4th and 5th place finishers went above him. But great structure, balance, and very, very good conditioning. But he used to be even in crazier conditions. So, once you establish yourself in that super peel, the ripped, the crazy shredded, then you're gonna come off. They're still, better than most of the guys. But yeah, he was formidable. I love his physique, and I hope he continues. I think he can be a major factor in Alicante.
Yeah, I mean, he was a 212 competitor. He won a couple shows, and I don't know what he weighs now. He's probably about, I would say, like 225, maybe now, maybe 230.
I would say that. Yeah, I would say that. I don't know. Maybe he was possibly too tall for
he was.
212. You know how it is when you're taller and you make 212, then they look at you like, okay, it's kind of weird. Which, speaking of that, the 3rd place finisher in the 212, Jafar Azizi. I can't even say this long last name.
I would try it, but I think the Persians out there are going to get angry at me because I'll F it up. Gafarnazad. I don't know. I could spell it.
I would say Jafar. Jafar Azizi.
He looks like he's about 5'9". I don't know how tall he really is. He looks pretty tall.
Yes. You see, this is a puzzling thing. How did he even make it to 12? Because he had a lot of muscle, superb conditioning, superb. And I've seen him compete in the open division. I didn't check on musclememory.com, a great website, but I think he qualified for Olympia 2-3 years ago. But as every other Iranian, had a trouble getting visa and not getting there. And if I can say this again now, if there is anyone on this planet Earth that can do something that within 2 weeks, Iranian guys can get the visa to compete in Alicante, that would be a major thing for IBB, for the sport, for that competition, and for deserving Iranian bodybuilders. I understand that if you're single in Iran, it's very hard to get visa anywhere, and most of those guys are single.
Wait a minute, you have to be married to get a visa or something?
Well, yeah, I even remember back in the day when I was coming to US, if I was married and I leave my wife in my country, they would issue me the visa because they're counting on this. I'm going to go back to my wife.
I don't think you. What's that word?
I didn't even think about it. That was a nice way to do divorce without actually getting divorced.
No, what do they call that when people do that? Like that's what Sergio Oliva did years in the '60s. What's it called when somebody they escape their country? Basically, what's that? There's a term for it. I can't remember what it is. Asylum? No, it's something like. It's something like that. So, they basically defect.
No?
They do. It usually was communist countries. Defect. You're defecting from the Soviet Union or Cuba or whatever. Yeah, but that's
I can't say the name, but there's actually a quite famous bodybuilder back in the 90s that was married in 4 different countries with 4 different.
What?
Right. Yeah.
Was it you?
I can't disclose much, but trust me, yeah, you know him.
Oh boy. Okay.
No, don't guess.
All right. Well, no, I was going to say you. It was probably you, right? But no.
No.
Let's talk about 212. Another win for Angel Calderon Frias from Spain. I don't know how many wins this guy has now, but he went into the Olympia last year with 4 wins. I think this is his 3rd win this year already. 4th. He's won. This guy's he's phenomenal. But I did think when Ahmad Ashkanani came back for the finals, I could have given the show to him. He tightened up so much in, it was like 4 hours, 3 hours. It wasn't much time.
You see, I have to be honest, like you are, last time you said you didn't watch that. I didn't catch 212 because I kind of signed up for it a little bit late, and 212 was already finished. Like, oh my God, I thought they would go last before open division. So I didn't see the prejudging. Yeah. I heard from Giles that, also Ashkanani, just like in the last show, dramatically improved from prejudging to finals. So when I looked at them, you see, this is interesting. When you just look at Ashkanani, he's a monster. His stick is big. Right? So I actually thought he's going to be overpowering Angel Calderon. But no, it was the opposite. When I see them together, I say, oh my God, Angel is so big, so thick, so round.
Yes. Yeah.
It is. And look, even though this is not the best conditioning of Angel Calderon, because he has established himself as a razor sharp, super dry, like crazy conditioning, with his coach, Francisco. So this was, if you saw him for the first time, great conditioning, separation, fullness, really. But I always compare the guys to the previous show also, and I said, would I go for a drier look? Well, maybe they purposely went for a fuller look to match Ashkanani's size and maybe overpower him. And Angel Calderon has this deep cuts anyway, so he appeared very conditioned anyway, even though for me, he was like about 15% off. He was still in very, very good condition.
Yeah.
And I was wondering by the score sheets, right?
Oh, yeah,
if there would be changes from prejudging and finals, because both you and Giles, mentioned that Ashkanani made a tremendous improvements.
Yeah.
But on the score sheets, it's only 1 round, judging. So I'm sure they're going to explain maybe they had the same points in the finals, but then you see as the totals, when you look at the totals, it's supposed to be double, so you can have a total of 3 points after 2 rounds as the first place. You can. You have 5 judges, 1 high, 1 low is being erased. You have 3 first place votes, that's 3 points.
Right.
So this is something, again, not to steer anything. I just think that that kind of consistency, has to be, implemented, because even when you see the actual blueprint, you have judging, you have finals, you have totals. So finals is empty, and that is like playing a soccer game, and you count only first half, not a second or 2 quarters in the football without ending the match. So I wonder, because a lot of times things change at the finals, and if I understand, Ashkanani, in your view, could possibly win it.
Oh yeah,
at the finals.
No problem. But let me ask you this: you're a coach, and he's got a coach, Ahmad Asghar, out of the Oxygen Gym. If this is the second weekend in a row that he comes in better for the finals, why can't they figure out how to bring him in looking like that for the judging? And then he would have won this, probably, maybe.
Well, it's a touchy subject, so if I say it, I would be again.
All right, then
but listen, I'm going to say openly, I understand that a camel crew usually have their guys going with the cheat meals and stuff like that. And for me, this is always absolute nonsense. You're going to cheat with something that you usually don't need. You're going to get the hydrogenated fats. You're going to have then what kind of fillers, emulsifiers there, and whatever they put in all this, and then French fries, and what is this nutritionally going to do to your body so you can maybe store the glycogen? Which part of that junk food that you're going to be eating? Yeah, and listen, I competed 110 times, 72 times as a pro. I did that junk loading one time only, just to try it.
Yeah.
99 Night of Champions. And I was so inflamed, so bloated, and that was my answer that I should have known, and I knew it. But you see, you have to try everything one time. So for that show, I decided I was going against Paul Dillette and Marcus Rule and Dexter Jackson and Pavel Yablonitsky. And, so I said, let me just see what happens. And contrary to this, I could do crazy loading, which I did 99 Olympia for a whole week, well over 1,000 grams of carbs a day,
Jeez.
Every single day, but clean carbs.
Yeah.
So on that note, when I was, I posted a video from backstage on a Legion's show, which, Legion show with Regan was second, and Stanimal was there, right? Stanimal was backstage looking for a cookie. And I just, and it's actually filmed. I didn't mean it. And then maybe, some people are going to judge me for it. But I just asked him a question. What is this cookie going to do to you right now? Because that's like minutes before the stage. Yeah. Which part of the cookie, that fat part of the cookie? Oh, no, maybe sugar part or glucose part. Yeah. Not even sugar, because sugar is sucrose. Fructose and glucose mixed together at 50-50, right? Yeah. So if you take for a glucose, it's 50%, but fructose has to go to liver. Liver have to convert it to. It's not efficient, right? Yeah. But you take these kind of stupid cookies that you don't know how many ingredients when you read the nutrition information, like 20 of them. Like, what is this going to do to you, right? So I just like people to start thinking. I say, I cannot teach you anything, but I can make you think, like Socrates. If your purpose is to load the glycogen or have a glucose in your bloodstream so you can have that pump and stuff like that, you're looking for glucose, not that fat, especially not that kind of fat.
So what would you eat? What's like the straightest way to get glucose in your body?
Glucose tablets.
Glucose tablets, like a diabetic would have.
Yeah, that's a pure glucose. Within 3 minutes is in your bloodstream. I did this back in the day backstage, and remember we were talking to Mohammed Makavi. He was doing the same thing. This is purest form of glucose. Yeah, you can have, like, let's say Gatorade or some carbo drinks. Many people actually do nowadays. Many of those either dextrose or maltodextrin glucose polymers, and then they mix it with a little bit of salt, and then they put a little bit of alcohol and all kinds of stuff for that crazy pump, before. This could and will make a possible difference because it's quick, it's pre-digested, it's right there. Like I said, it takes 3 minutes to go in the bloodstream. But cookie, how long is it going to take you to digest that cookie? You're counting on being there in 15 minutes? That small part, there is the sugar.
If it's a My Cookie Dealer cookie that Juan Morello's wife Karen sell, it would take you hours to digest that thing. They're enormous. They're delicious. Let's move on to third place. Like we said, he was one of the taller guys in the show, but wow, was he shredded. From Iran, Gafarnazad Azizi. Yes. I don't know if this guy belongs in 212 because I'd like to see him put a little more mass on and go open. But man, still very impressive. Yeah. He was shredded.
Shredded, separated, polished. My God. Really, he lost in a size department, basically. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But when you look at the sharpness, conditioning, tie-ins, separation, balance. Okay, maybe he didn't have such a dominant V taper. He was kind of a little bit, more straight down, not dramatic.
He looked like a taller guy, basically.
Yeah. But again, us purists in bodybuilding, we're looking for that the polishment and conditioning. We appreciate him. I'm sure that you would say if he won, I wouldn't have a problem.
I wouldn't have had him beating those two guys. Size-wise, Angel and Ahmad, they have so much more mass, and the condition was there. This is one case I would not have. Beiru's I would not have had a problem winning, but Jafar, I would have been. I would not have had him winning that. But still,
fair enough. Maybe I didn't digest that deeply before I said. I just said in general
for 48 hours too. So
yeah, if you look at it, just we appreciated his conditioning. Nothing was really missing, so therefore could he win? But you're right. Angel Calderon and Ahmed Ashkanani really beat him in muscle department, size department, fullness, roundness. So I agree with you.
So fourth place was Radoslav Angelov, I think, Bulgaria.
Bulgaria.
And Giles said he believes he's only about 185 pounds. And I could see his legs could stand a good 10 pounds on the quads and the hams, which would bring him up closer to the 212 limit. But I love his upper body, not in love with that guy's lower body. If he brought that lower body up to match the upper, he would have beat a couple of these guys for sure today.
I agree. Beautiful upper body, complete combination of thickness, width, roundness, so you can see this. I mean, some people maybe they have a width but don't have a roundness, so they're flattish looking. And many in each category, in classic, in 212 and open, he has everything. Every bodybuilder is bodybuilder. Everything is happening, right? But like you said, okay, when you move the camera down to the legs and cover upper body, lower body, it's like doesn't belong to the same guy. Not dramatic, but clearly visible. And like you said, if he puts a few pounds on his lower body, he's going to be a contender because he's complete. Then I would go for crazy conditioning because he is fairly conditioned, but not greatly conditioned. So again, let's speak. This is IBB Pro Division 212 Open. So if you're pro, you're supposed to bring pro conditioning. What is happening that recent years we have a amateur bringing the pro conditioning and pro missing it. So he would need really to get that next level to really make a mark, and then he's going to be super competitive.
So fifth and sixth, I remember they looked good, but I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to them, to be honest.
Yeah.
I was focused on the top four. So fifth place was Nasser Mohammed from Kuwait, I believe.
Yeah, beautiful physique, complete, everything. Conditioning was not spot on. I mean, he needed to be leaner, harder, and drier. But you say when somebody brings a beautiful shape, sometimes they're awarded. I mean, he's making top 5 anyway, right?
Yeah.
So exactly. Maybe he thinks I'm on the right track, but right track should be, placing higher, going for a victory, going to win, and he needs to fix the conditioning. Otherwise, it's complete physique.
And the sixth place gentleman was Babak Akban
from Iran.
Yeah. Let me try to get the actual pronunciation. Lost you there. So 212. I got to say this guy's name right out of respect to him because he did look very good. So from Iran, Babak Akbarnia. That sound right?
Yeah. I think that's correct. Babak.
Okay. So Akbarnia.
Beautiful physique and great conditioning. I mean, Iranians in general, if they showed up, they're in good condition, great condition, or crazy condition. Yeah. So these guys are in a great condition. I mean, Hadi Chupan was that next level crazy conditioning, right?
Yeah.
And I think we brought it similar with the Cruz today. It's just like you see his muscle quality striations, and it's more visible from the back than from the front. Mm-hmm. So there are some people that have a front or side or back dominant, and they can achieve that kind of conditioning. You see, Amir also had a great conditioning in general, but from the back conditioning was off the chart, right? Yeah. So more so, I was the opposite. I could do from the front, and my back would never match. And many people.
Most people. That's why, because I'm throwing random shit out there, but they used to say, when they say contests are won from the back, we're not just talking about the back developments, because most people get very, very lean from the front, but it's much harder to get the lower back, the glutes and the hamstrings as lean as it is, areas like your chest and your abs and your serratus and all that. So yeah, but let me say, Iran is coming on so strong. Wow.
Yes, that's why I would like, Giles told me that he talked to Emilio Martinez, promoter. Emilio, if you're listening, please, he talked to him after the show, and then Emilio possibly could help Iranian bodybuilders in Beirut make it to Alicante.
Oh, good.
That would be phenomenal. So I'm reaching out to you, Emilio, if you can make the contact through me, directly through Beirut and other Iranians. I don't know how Hani Rainbow did. That's another thing. I don't have Hani's number. I would like to contact him and see, because
you don't have Hani's number. I can give that to you right now.
I don't. If you can give me, I'll call him for sure. Text me later. Because he found a way to bring Hadi Chupan. So let's say that Bekruz qualified for Olympia. How he's going to get there? He's going to still need this kind of help. So maybe we can use the same lawyers, same team that Hani managed to overcome all this, political issues, and have them freely compete. I could see a lot of Iranians qualifying for Olympia. I see. Yeah,
I could see Beiru winning the show in Alicante in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I clearly see that too.
He's phenomenal.
But you see, now imagine training for it, dieting for it, being ready for it, and that not being able to go.
No.
And for him, that's also what happened before. Through this pandemic, some shows were canceled, and then those that were not canceled, Iranians were not allowed to compete. So what do you do? It breaks my heart, really. And then finally,
you said he was supposed to be in Prague last week, right?
Yeah, and Egypt. He was
and Egypt.
Yeah, and when we talk about it, he was going to go to Dubai, and he went to Dubai. He made it to Dubai, but he could not go next step to Egypt, and then he had to just return. No. For you competed many times. Imagine if 4 days before the show you are told you can't compete.
Nope. No, I would have lost my mind. I would have cried my eyes out and screamed. And I can't. It happened so many times last year with shows being canceled, people not getting visas, people getting a positive COVID test right before they traveled. Yeah, I just sent you Hani's number. Yeah, dude, it has to be heartbreaking. I can't imagine prepping for a bodybuilding show. So much time, so much money, so much effort. You put your heart, your soul, blood, sweat, and tears, and then, oops, sorry, you can't go. Sorry, you can't come to our show, or we're not going to have these poor guys.
Hadi Chupan qualified, I believe, also for 2016. I was there.
Oh wow!
I saw him winning the amateur show, Shiru Classic in Dubai, and then next day, he was second to Rudy Winkler. So 2016, 2017, 2018 qualified each year for Olympia, and didn't make it. And then 2019 again, he qualified not just 212 but 212 and open.
Right.
And there was a question, and then if you remember, he showed up like a few days before them. So it's like those guys really have it hard. So for all of you that don't have these kind of issues, I appreciate your position, because this is reality for these guys.
Yeah, a lot of people watching, if they competed, they probably could drive to their contest. It's like a couple cities away or one state away. These people are going all over they're crossing 10 international borders and taking 5 different flights to get to their show, and living on, packing 48 hours worth of food just to be on airplanes. These guys really, they're troopers, man. I give it up to them. You got to have a lot of heart to go through this.
But then let's mention also the organization of the show. Oh my God, Vincent Strength and Tim Gardner, they pull again a magical thing. There was well over almost 600 amateurs competing.
Wow, gee.
Okay, and then all these classes that you've seen. There was like 30-something men's physique, and then 25 classic physique, and 20-something open division. It was stacked. To my detriment, because I just wanted to go to sleep, and I was like waiting for a prejudging, and then it's like, oh, 35. Oh my God, 35 men's physique. Yeah. No. And then it was, oh, classic physique. And then it was bikini. It's like,
we love all the divisions, guys. Just to make it clear, we love and respect all the divisions.
Yeah, I know.
We just happen to be a little more interested in open in 212 because that's, that's where we.
I tell you this, I was actually timing now. I said, like, okay, men's physique is coming out. Like, do they have a time limit? And some guys were going like 30, 40 seconds. I said, great, maybe this is going to go faster. But then, another guy went over a minute and, nobody said nothing. Like, oh. So I would give, this is how I would give, 5 seconds for each pose. Okay? Yep. Pro bodybuilders have 8 mandatory poses, and they can do a few of the other ones. Men's physique has 3 poses, front, side, and back, or 2.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I think it's 2. It's just front and back. Oh, it is.
Yeah.
They don't do a side. They don't do a side pose.
So why would you need to, present this for like 40 seconds? Because you're going to do the same pose. You're just going to move your arms 10 times. I don't think, you see, especially because now we are talking about judging the show and they have to hurry up. Okay. Right. Well, think about this. Back in the 90s, when I was doing a Night of the Champions, one year there was 55 competitors.
Wow.
So instead of
that's one, you should let people know that's one division. That was just was the men's body. That was, well, there was only one. It was meant. Did they even have women's bodybuilding at that? They did, right?
No, not for Night of the Champions. There was just
it was just one class. The show was 55 pro men. Wow.
You know what? I might be wrong. I
I know they had over 40 a couple times. I know they did.
Yeah, but it should be the females as well, because it was.
Anyway, it was a long shot.
Yeah, but so we didn't go for individual. There was like 2 or 3 guys coming out and hitting at the same time, because it would take forever. Yeah. So you can speed it up that way. Right. Yeah, I understand. Again, look, rules are rules, but rules are to be improved on. So when you notice something, like we discussed that also. Look, for a man's physique, and Jealous noticed it. Those guys start looking like a bodybuilders. They have like so much muscle. Like, whoa, those guys, if they roll up those shorts and have legs, they can go to the classic physique immediately. Some of them wouldn't even make the cut, height and weight. Okay,
they wouldn't. So they'd be over the weight limit. They would be.
Yeah. The great respect for the men's physique guys, but I think that they would like to have a few more mandatory poses. Okay, few more, show more, and then again, I said this repeatedly because I want to be heard. Don't necessarily lose the shorts, but make it higher, make it like the classic physique, so legs would be judged, and people and those guys would be more appreciated.
Logan Franklin, one of the main reasons he left men's physique was he wanted to pose. He wanted to be able to pose and show the physique from different angles, which he could not really do as a men's physique competitor.
That's correct. Because let me tell you, he just showed me when he was here with me, for 5 days. He showed me his men's physique routine. Like I said, what do you mean men's physique routine? There is no men's physique routine. Well, he made it a routine. Yeah. He made it. He was so creative. So you can Google it and see it on YouTube. He made it interesting. Okay. So that's what I would really urge. You know how it is. Yeah. Authorities would say, yeah, let's not change it. But if you change it for better, and there is a great acceptance, and a lot of people think this way, right? There is not one single pro bodybuilder and champion, starting from Arnold Schwarzenegger or Dorian Yates, or you name anybody, they would approve shorts in any IBB category, therefore men's physique. They would never approve it. No. Okay, so I wouldn't either.
All right, well, as usual, we got off on some crazy tangents, Milos, but it's okay.
That's
what we do.
You heard them to say no, then at least we tried.
Exactly.
The only way to get something is to try to make it happen.
If you never ask, you never get. So yeah.
Exactly.
Well, Milos, you have not slept for probably 2 or 3 days again. So appreciate you doing this as always. you're dealing with athletes 24 hours a day, texting, FaceTiming, and all that. So I'm sure you need a little break. I hope you get some rest later today or tomorrow or something.
Thank you. And then I guess we'll see each other for Alicante a couple of weeks from now.
Yeah, hopefully. And then that's the last one till Toronto, I'm thinking. Yeah.
Toronto, yes.
Yeah.
And Toronto is December 5th. I think it's officially last show of the year.
I hope so. My goodness, come on. It's December.
No, I like the idea of multiple shows. I mean, back in my time, there was not so many pros. Nowadays, there's much more pros. And for some reason, they're not entering the shows. I mean, you see, back in the 90s, for me to enter any show, I would always have to count on, for sure, Vince Taylor, for sure, Kevin Lebroni, Ronnie Coleman, the Chris Cormier, more than like National somebody, every goddamn show, so,
It's true.
So it's like not like a show that you can pick. Oh no, I'm just gonna walk in and nobody's gonna show up.
If that were the case, Milos, you would have like 20 pro wins instead of one.
Yeah.
You could have picked shows where none of those guys were going to be at. I'll just do that show, and you would have. It's not like that. It wasn't like that back in those days. Anyway.
Yeah, I still think that I'm the only one that did every pro show organized in multiple years, actually. So anything that is organized, I entered in a calendar year 3 times.
I was around, and I don't remember anyone else doing as many shows as you did. No, Vince did a lot, Cormier did a lot, but you did more than all those guys. I remember you were in every show. Yeah, I was like, oh, there's Milos.
But I tell you why. Initially, and this is how it is, as a new athlete, I have to, in the beginning of the year, actually end of the previous year, sign up for which show you would, agree to compete. And then promoters would see your name. And then if you are attractive enough for them, they would offer you contract, flight, hotel, and all that stuff. Okay. So initially, of course, I had to take care of it myself in 91.
Ouch.
But then as soon as 92 is okay, what do you want to do? Everything. So I signed up for everything and I got the contract for everything. So I did everything. And then from that point on, pretty much I would sign up and thank God I had my expenses paid, which makes so much easier. And many of these guys, they're competing now. The only reason why they're not doing a next show and show after that is because they can't afford it.
Yeah, my God. Yeah. I couldn't afford to fly to all these countries. Me, if I had to, on my own money and pay my own hotel, I couldn't do all these trips like these people do. There's no way. Put my family in debt. No, I'm not doing that. Anyway.
All right.
Milos, thank you so much. Yeah. Great wrap-up of Romania Musclefest Pro in Bucharest, Romania. We'll do it again in 2 weeks, but I hope you get some rest. Great job with your clients. As always, they looked phenomenal. And yeah, you're one of the best. You're one of the very best coaches in this world. So glad to have you as part of this. Guys, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. Make sure you're always getting notifications, comment, thumbs up, do all that good crap, please. We love you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
See you next time. All right, Ron.